Cassidy, what are you doing?
Watching the sun rise on a grateful universe.
It's noon. What are you freaking heck?
Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cassidy, and I like to make movies and talk about really nerdy comic book stuff. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about Infinity War, and we're going to talk about my thoughts on it, as well as my theories for what I think is going to happen in the second part of Infinity War. I have my Infinity shirt on, so I feel prepared for the day. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. So, just my initial thoughts. I loved it. I thought it was a really great movie. I thought the Russo brothers did a really good job at having 15 plus lead characters in a narrative together. It was really, really cool. I thought Josh Brolin did a really good job as Thanos. I cried a lot, especially for Spider-Man. I laughed a lot. I saw it on opening night, and I have to say, I think that's the absolute best way to do it. Everyone was cheering and clapping, even at all the silly stuff, and it was like a ton of fun. So I definitely recommend that. Overall thoughts are, I loved it. I thought all their performances were great. It was really interesting because these directors were taking like a ton of other people's work and shoving it all together into one movie. And so there were a few things that kind of like confused me at first. I have some theories on where it's going, but for example, I thought that the Russo brothers kind of poo-pooed on Thor Ragnarok, as well as Guardians of the Galaxy 2 just a little bit. I was a little shocked that our opening scene was opening with half of Thor's people dead. I felt like it threw away everything that happened in Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok was a super fun movie, but everyone would have been better off if they had stayed on the planet and just hung out with Hala. Everyone would have been better off. And so I thought that was really tough to start out on. And I thought if I was the director of Thor Ragnarok, I'd be pretty mad that you just threw away everything I worked on. But we don't know yet. We don't know where it's all going to end up. That's the thing. And I was a little confused that they didn't mention Valkyrie at all. They didn't even say her name. The second time I watched it, I think I noticed that there was a second ship, which I don't remember from Thor Ragnarok, but I'm thinking that she was on a second ship and that half of the Asgardians are still alive. That is what I took away from seeing it the second time, because the first time I saw it, I just thought that everybody died, and except for Thor, and I thought it was weird that Valkyrie wasn't there and that she wasn't mentioned at all, but maybe she is on that second ship and she has the other half of the Asgardian people. That's what I'm thinking. I think I saw that the second time I watched it through. But just first initial impression, I was like, that is really sad. Everything they did in that last movie didn't even matter. The absolute best part of the film was definitely the relationship between Gamora and Thanos. I thought it was super exciting to get to see Gamora play more of a leading and a more of an important role because she was more of a supporting character in the second Guardians of the Galaxy and in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. So it was really cool to see her. Their relationship made everything very powerful, made Thanos very, I don't want to say relatable because I can't really relate to a big purple giant man, but it made us so much more sympathetic to his character. And I was saying that I felt like they kind of threw away a lot of what happened in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And by that, I meant the relationship between Star-Lord and Gamora. I liked it. I like that they're together. I love the two of them together. But if I was James Gunn, who directed Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I'd be a little mad that the Russo brothers took my moment of Peter and Gamora saying I love you to each other. And James Gunn has been building up the relationship between the two of them for the past two movies pretty intensely, and Lindsay Ellis talks about this in her video essay on Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but purposely Peter's not been rewarded with Gamora yet because he hasn't learned totally to be mature yet. He's on this learning curve, and once he gets there, he's going to get the girl. And that's what James Gunn has been building up in the first two movies. And then in this one, it's obvious that they've always had feelings for each other, but they just threw it all out there. they kissed, they said I love you, and like I was all for it because I love the two of them together, but I was also like, dang, they just like went straight to it. I feel like I didn't get to see that peak of Peter like learning to be mature, of Peter like kind of coming to that full circle change. Really, if you want to understand more what I'm saying, I think you should watch Lindsay Ellis's video on Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I just felt like that was kind of missing, and I felt like if I was James Gunn, I would be a little bit frustrated that my romance between two of my characters got taken from me. It feels like maybe they could have done without it, but it's Peter's love for Gamora that convinces him, persuades him to punch Thanos in the face when they just about have that Infinity Gauntlet off, which is the most frustrating scene in like cinema history.
Let me just say, from the bottom of my heart, my bad.
Ever. I was like screaming in the back of the theater. It was so frustrating. Without that big driving factor, it wouldn't make sense for him to lose his cool, and it wouldn't make sense for him to just lash out at Thanos and make that huge mistake. Can we just talk about how weak Vision was? I don't feel like I totally understand it. I think that he says near the beginning that he was hit. I can't remember what exactly it was. He's hit with something, and I think he was basically saying he couldn't phase anymore, which is he couldn't go through things. But I was a little confused as to why he was like so wimpy throughout the whole movie. He like desolated in Age of Ultron, and then in this one he was very weak. And in the words of my good friend Max, he should have used more laser beam eyes instead of kind and understanding eyes. Let's just get into the theories. Okay, so here are my theories for Infinity War Part 2. Here's where I think things are going. First off, we didn't see Iron Man and Captain America talking at all. They didn't get to kiss and make up, so I think that's definitely going to happen. We saw they're both alive. What I think is going to end up happening is I think that they are going to have to sacrifice themselves together. I think that's going to be their last like camaraderie. I think they're going to make up, and then I think the two of them are going to sacrifice themselves. 100%. That's what I'm putting my money on. That's what I think is going to happen. I think it'd be a great way to resolve the relationship between the two of them. It'd be a great sacrifice, and if you're going to permanently end any characters, we know it's going to be them, and it'd be a really nice way for them to go. So that's what I think is going to happen with the two of them. Some more theories. You've got the Soul Stone and you've got the Time Stone. I think that the solution is going to involve the Time Stone. I don't know how they're going to get it back, but I think things are going to go back in time. I think it's going to be time travel. And I say that because that way you still bring Gamora back. You could bring Loki back. I think Gamora is definitely going to come back because Guardians of the Galaxy 3, still a lot of money to be made with her. I think she'll definitely come back, and she's either trapped in that Soul Stone and she's going to come out through some interaction with the Soul Stone, or we're going to go back in time. I don't know, but I kind of want to lean towards time travel because then you could erase a lot of things that happen. And by that, I mean, you could go back and all of Asgard could still be alive. And that way you don't throw away everything that happened. And I really want to say that they're going to go back in time and Gamora's going to forget that she and Peter like confessed their love to each other and that they kissed. And Peter, I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like Peter's going to remember that they did, but they're going to hold off on saying it again. And it's going to be kind of forgotten or maybe addressed at the end of the film, but I want to say it'll maybe be put off until Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That way James Gunn could have his couple back and he could have his story back. I don't know for sure, but I kind of want to lean towards that way. So the last theory I have is about Iron Man, the fate of Iron Man, or what I want to say is I think there's going to be a new Iron Man. When I saw Black Panther a couple months ago, I thought Shuri was like one of the coolest characters. That's Black Panther's sister. She's a lot smarter than anyone else in all of like Wakanda. She's really techy. She is way ahead of her time. And in Infinity War, she actually meets up with Bruce Banner and kind of basically demonstrates that she's a lot smarter than him as well. And so this is like a really big stretch, but part of me really wants to think that Shuri is going to be the new Iron Man when Iron Man is gone. And I say that because I know she has the technical skills. I know she could do it. Also, interestingly, for those of you that don't really keep up with the comics, the current Iron Man in the Marvel comic book series is a black woman named Riri Williams. Obviously a very different character, but I'm just thinking it wouldn't be unheard of if she stepped in and took that mantle on. It's not even necessarily that I think she would like wear Iron Man's suit and all that good stuff, but I don't know. I just feel like Tony and Shuri would get along really, really well. I feel like they would work really well together. I feel like Tony would be really impressed with her and all of her work, and I can see him leaving her a bunch of his tech. That's a really far cry because we haven't even seen the two of the characters interact. I kind of thought they would in this movie, but they didn't. But in the off chance it happens, you heard it here first, that I think Shuri could be the new Iron Man. So yeah, those are all my thoughts on Infinity War and kind of my theories and predictions of things that are to come. I'm really excited for the next one, but we've definitely got Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel before that comes out, and it'll be really interesting to see how that plays into Infinity War. So, I don't know. I'm excited. Bye, everyone. Also, I thought that Tom Holland did a really good job reprising his role as Spider-Man. But Spider-Man's my favorite, so I'm going to have to make a whole complete different video talking about everything Spider-Man.